Happiness. It's a state of mind in which your thoughts are pleasant a good share of the time. Easily attainable every day. And Dr. Maltz is the person who made that definition. For those who are new to the channel and may not have heard of Dr. Maltz, he is the person who built the foundation for every self-help and personal development program that exists today. So let's have a look at how Dr. Maltz recommends building that peace of mind that then builds the habit of happiness. It is October 2023, and it occurs to me that this particular subject, this video, is more important now than perhaps ever before. And who knows how important it will be in the future, because we have so many people who are filled with hate and anger. You can pick either side of the political spectrum, and people are just enraged with each other. You can pick different areas of social activism, and again, people are just utterly angry with one another. So maybe it's even more appropriate that the basis for this particular video is the word capiche. It's the English translation for capisci. It's Italian, capisci, and it means understand. Because we could use some understanding in the world today. We could definitely use some more PEP. Because, oh boy, there's a lot of poop running around out there today. And capiche, it's a word we put at the end of sentences to ask, do you get it? You tell somebody something and you go, capiche? You understand? And how this works, I do have a script, as usual. Dr. Maltz saw 7 things that people can do to build a habit of happiness so that your thoughts are pleasant a good share of the time on a regular basis. And what I've done is I reordered the 7 things that Dr. Maltz chose so that their initials spell out the word, the quasi-word, capiche. C-A-P-E-A-C-H. It's kind of as close to capiche as I could get. And we'll see. Let's take a look and we'll see if it helps to make it more memorable. First thing I want to note, happiness is actually our default state of being. Take a look at any kid running around just enjoying themselves. It's a default state of being. It isn't until we start, growing up, becoming adults, that we start to actually beat that out of ourselves, as well as having other people beat it out of us. What we need to do, quite frankly, there is a link in the description. It's the very first link in the description, and it is a reference chart for PEP and POOP, personal empowerment practices and personal offensive obstructive practices. We tend to fill our lives with poop. Now, if you ask anybody, which would you rather have, a life filled with poop or a life filled with PEP? They will inevitably say PEP, except for the jagoffs who think they're, oh, I'm so smart, I'll be contrary, I'll take poop. Never realizing how big of an anus they are, because I guarantee they are filling their lives with poop. Oh, but they think they're so smart. And I've gone so far off the script. At any rate, let's work on learning to fill our lives with some PEP. And here are the things that fill out that quasi-word capiche. So the first C is choice. It is a choice. Happiness is a choice. I've said this before, when you wake up in the morning and look out a window, do you look out the window thinking, wonderful, a brand new day, new opportunities, I am so happy to be alive? Or do you look out the window going, another day? How you face the world is your choice. And a story I've told, I don't know, lots and lots and lots of times. I don't know how often I've told it in any of these videos. And I'll shorten it down for time. Basically, a family goes on vacation, and the young boy in the family notices this fellow who comes into town every day. And the old man, he walks with a limp, he sells vegetables, he looks pretty lonely, but he is always whistling. And so 3, 4, 5 days into the vacation, the little boy is just, so curious. How can somebody who is physically infirm and looks to be so poor, how can this person be happy all the time? And so the boy asks, well, how can you be happy and whistle all the time? And the man says, oh, well, you need to understand, I do not whistle because I am happy. I am happy because I whistle. Which leads us to the next one. Act as if. Which ties directly into this story of the old man. Have you ever started talking out loud when you walk into a dark room? It's dark, there's no lights, and therefore it's a scary room, you don't know what there is. Well, you're doing that to make yourself feel braver. And happiness works the same way. Me personally, I like all kinds of music. Country music, classical music, rock and roll, classic rock and roll. I like all kinds of music. But something that I noticed probably 18 months ago, for sure this year, and keep in mind at the time of recording, this is October, so all of this year, I have just played Christmas music because it's happier. It's more filled with joy than any of the other music to which I listen. And this year, I have made a conscious choice. First thing, first C, choice. To be happy. To be thankful for the things that I have and the opportunities that are in front of me. I used to eat ice cream and chocolate and other sweets to make myself feel better. And the reason that works is there's something in the foods, sweet foods, that it acts like a drug. And obviously it's very temporary, but it does work. It makes you feel better for a little while. Of course, that's also a big piece of what led to me getting up to 354 pounds. Eating to make yourself feel happy works, but it is definitely not acting as if. It's actually a form of self-medication. And now, when I get hungry, when I get the nibbles, I get the munchies. So I eat regular meals all day long. I eat 6 times a day. And then I stop eating by around 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock. So if in the evening, 7:30, 8, 8:30, I get the munchies, I feel like I want something to eat, I now eat popcorn. And I put real butter on the popcorn. That's a way of taking action to deal with having the munchies, to deal with wanting something to eat without actually eating stuff that has a bunch of calories in it. Well, acting as if you are happy is, to me, I see it as being the same thing. Whistling, listening to happy music, making a deliberate effort, it's part of my daily routine. I do what's called a rampage of gratitude. And so I walk around my apartment looking at everything that's here and vocalizing, saying out loud why I am happy to have that thing. Next on the list is purpose. And when I was putting this script together, I remembered an article I read recently where the writer was put forward the idea that happiness and the pursuit of happiness are two different things, which, as you might imagine, immediately made me think, then why are you failing to use two different words? If they're different things, there must be a different word for the thing that you want to use to represent pursuit of happiness. Don't know why. Clearly the person writing this article lacks some amount of literacy, that they don't know enough to know that purpose, that is the thing that results in happiness. Yeah, there's an old phrase, I always heard it when I was growing up, an idle mind is the devil's playground. Sometimes it was idle hands are the devil's plaything. We need to understand, we need to recognize that purpose is one of our 5 fundamental needs. There is belonging, survival, purpose, fun, and freedom. If we want to be happy, we need a purpose. We need something to work toward. We are, as human beings, we are goal-striving mechanisms. So we need a purpose. Next, and I'm sorry, I have no idea why my nose is so itchy, but it suddenly is. Next, CAPEACH, C-A-P-E-A-C-H. So we're doing E, environment. Quite naturally, we would all think, oh, the trees or climate change or whatever. This is much more simple. It is your environment. So for me, it's obviously it's where I live and everything, but my immediate environment is my apartment. So to help me be happy and to have pleasant thoughts, I have book covers mounted on the wall there. I have book covers mounted on the wall, actually the covers for the Getting Happy series, mounted on the wall directly over my desk. Over there, I have the 2 international bestsellers, and underneath that is my vision board. And then, of course, I have the recliner in which I'm sitting. I don't know how much of it you've ever seen, but this window is filled with plants, which makes me very happy to see the plants. Plus, I have a great view out that window. So everything in my environment encourages me toward happiness. Everything I see encourages me toward happiness, toward fulfilling my purpose, toward making good choices. The next one is another A, and this one is association. And it's something I think we have gotten away from. I'm not sure that's quite the correct phrasing. Another thing I heard growing up all the time is that bad company corrupts good morals. And I have, now at the age of 56, I can look through my life and I recognize someone who is well behaved, someone who has good morals, rarely pulls anybody up to their level. If you want to rise to that level, you have to choose to do it. No one is going to pull you up. At the exact same time, I have seen again and again and again that bad company corrupts the person with good morals. I have experienced that. Hanging out with people who are negative, are always tearing each other and themselves down, and they will inevitably and invariably pull you down too. So it is an important thing to pay attention to the people with whom you are associating. If people are putting things forward, especially those of you who are going to university or going to college, when teachers start putting forward ideas and telling you this is what you need to believe, this is the way the world works, you need to be intensely critical of that. All the way to the point, I remember I had a friend, her name was this close to saying her real name. Mary, I'll call her Mary. She was in a program studying early childhood education. And one of her instructors told the class that in the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood, the character Little Red Riding Hood, her Red Riding Hood represented the character's promiscuity. I'm sorry, this is a child in the fairy tale. Children are not promiscuous, but the instructor said that's the way it is, and if you put anything else on an exam, I'll fail you, I'll mark it wrong. Okay, when you have instructors that are doing that, you need to look at what it is that the instructor is saying, and hey, it's their classroom, they are going to mark how they want to mark, give them what they're asking for. But never ever allow your mind to give in to what they are preaching. Two more. The next one is another C, and it is cheer others. Sounds pretty simple. Make other people happy. The truth is that it is impossible to feel discouraged when you are encouraging somebody else, because you are focused on encouragement. Incidentally, one of the items in the PEP column. And like all of this, I could dwell on each one of these topics for hours. But I'm pretty sure most folks understand what it is to cheer someone else up. And if you don't, if you have no idea how to cheer up other people, well, you definitely do have my deepest sympathy, because that's an unfortunate place to be. And the last one, the last H. No, the only H. Okay, habit. Because this whole thing is about building the habit of happiness. If you do these other things regularly and consistently, it builds a habit. It builds the habit of how you look at things, of how you perceive the world around yourself. Because if you are waiting for someone else to make you happy, you are waiting in vain. And we all know, absolutely, that nature abhors a vacuum. So if you're just doing nothing, then you have no determination of what is coming into your life. You know, the idea is, let me back up a step, because I think I might have been getting somewhat unclear, somewhat vague. We all have habits of behavior, and sometimes these are habits that we want to leave behind. And understand that as you move from whatever it is that you're doing now toward more use of PEP, more use of cheering others, paying attention to your association, you know, working at having a better outlook on life, making better choices. Always look at changing a habit, replacing a habit, rather than breaking a habit. Because if you just break a habit, if you stop it, then you're left with nothing. And if you're left with nothing, you are making no determination about what is coming into your life. So we want all of these things that are in CAPEACH to be a habit for us. So we have to look at what it is that we're doing and say, okay, this is where I am. I want to move over to here, and I'm already making choices. I recognize that, so I'm going to keep making choices. I'm just going to make different choices. I'm already acting as if, but I'm acting as if life is garbage. So how about I change and start acting as if life is actually a really good thing and a blessing to have? And you can walk through each of the elements to do that exact same thing. And again, I recognize this is something about which I could talk for hours. And if you've seen any of my earlier videos, you know that I really can. Let me wrap it up with this. Habits can be just like ruts in a road. And you want to change your habits, you want to get out of those ruts. But the ruts pull you back. So give yourself a kind eyes treatment, give yourself a break. And when you make efforts and get any amount of success, celebrate that success. And recognize, unless you are willing to just completely get off the trail and drive through new territory, which, could be a really good idea, you are going to have some amount of time where you're dealing with falling back into old patterns. And that's okay. None of us likes it, but it's okay. It's an okay thing to experience. You will learn and grow from it. The other thing to finish up with is, clearly I could cover a whole lot more. I could go on with this stuff for days. So if you want to know more, if you have questions, put them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. I have also learned that no matter when the comments are put there, even if this video is 20 years old, YouTube, assuming YouTube still exists, will tell me that there is a new comment. So feel free to put your comment whenever you see this video. I will see it. I will know that it's there. And that's it. I hope this was useful. I hope it helps you build some new habits. And I hope it helps you find happiness on a daily basis. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.